All right, we are sounding the alarms here because less than 7 is adding integers. And adding integers, when we get into subtracting, multiplying, dividing, is a huge topic. It is something that you're going to be using over and over and over again. It's just as important as your multiplication facts. So that's why we're sounding the alarm there. So we're going to adjust some of the information that we've got here. We're going to take this out here. And we're just going to call this the first number. All right, we'll just call this the second number. And then we're going to call this, I'm going to ask for the operation, all right, that you're going to end up using there. So the main thing we're looking at here is if we are adding integers. Okay, we are adding there. It says, remember, just because you see an addition sign doesn't mean you always add anymore, all right? But if you are adding two positive numbers together, will you always add? Yes, you will, all right? If they're two negative numbers, the first number is negative and the second number is negative, and you're adding, will you actually end up adding? Yes, you will, all right? If the first number is positive and the second number is negative, it will actually turn out to be a subtraction problem. And just as we flip it around, it'll be subtraction as well. So part of what we're going to do is we're going to generalize here, all right? And we're actually going to head on down to the rules for adding integers just so we can kind of formalize it. Now again, this is the kind of just in case, like I got it wrong, why is that wrong? Well, here's your explanation. If the signs are alike, all right, you add. So we've got a negative number and a negative number. They have alike signs, so that's why we add and we end up keeping the sign. If you lose $6 and you lose $4, altogether you have lost $10. If the signs are different, then you find the difference. And remember that word difference that doesn't mean to subtract. So you can see here we've got different signs. So it is a subtraction problem. Now you will always put the larger number first. So you'll just say, hey, 13 minus 11 is 2. All right, but then you'll keep the sign of the larger number regarding its absolute value. Now again, this gets kind of wordy, which is why we kind of, we like to kind of work on the idea of, well, I got more positives, so it's going to stay positive. Just like here, different signs, one's positive, one is a negative. So we are going to subtract, which we get our 2, 13 minus 11, but we have more negatives, so that's why it is a negative 2. So each time we are doing 13 minus 11. That's the operation that's going on in our head. Example 3, anytime they are opposites, you really don't need to do any work at all because opposites always add up to 0. So here's what I want you to do. Pause it here. Go ahead, start working through them, and then start checking it there. So like I said, pause, and we'll start going through them. Did you pause it? Good. All right. So, come on. Yes, you do. You can pause it. No, good, you did. Different signs. All right. So we will subtract. So when I subtract, I get 13, but I've got more negatives, so it is negative. Same signs. They're both negative numbers, so they're alike. So I'm going to add, and I'll keep the sign. They're opposites. Opposites always add together to give a 0. I've got different. All right. So I'm going to subtract. And I got more, so that's why it stays a positive. Kind of look like opposites, but no, they're not opposites. They're both alike signs. They're the same sign. So I will add, and I will keep the sign. Question number 11, I'm kind of going through different steps here. So we got more of them. Again, I don't mind mental math here. All right. Different signs, so we're going to subtract. So we do get a 9. 9 plus 13 is 22. And then if we do 22 plus a negative 5, we've got different signs, so we will subtract, but I have more positives, that's why it stays positive. Question 12, I've got the same, they are alike, so we will add and we will keep the sign. And even when I do the next one, they're both negative, so they are alike, so I will add and I will keep the sign. Question 13, I have different, so I'm going to subtract, which is why I get negative 1. I have more negatives. And then when I add on a negative 1, it gives me a total of negative 2. All right, so like I said, I know I ran through that fast, but like I said, part of this is we just got to get you doing it. That we got to get you trying it the entire time. All right, how'd it go? Is it going well?
Oh, good for you.
I mean that sincerely. I'm happy for you. I really am. All right, so absolute value. Remember, absolute value is the distance from 0. So the absolute value of negative 2 is 2. The absolute value of 2 is 2. So we're going to add together. It's 4. Absolute value is a lot like parentheses. All right. So we go inside and we take care of it first. So absolute value negative 6 is 6. Negative 8 plus 6. Well, different signs, so we're going to subtract, and I've got more negatives. 16, like I said, it's like parentheses, so you do need to take care of it first. What is negative 6 plus 4? It's negative 2. Then you can take the absolute value for it. So we do want to watch for that. That is something we got to keep in mind. Is it not what's the absolute value of negative 6? No, 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 no. It's like parentheses. Do what's inside of it first and then take care of the absolute value. So, ooh, look at this one. This is a nice one. All right, so first of all, the negative's on the outside. So what's the absolute value of 5? It's 5. But the negative sign is still waiting for me. So that's how we make an answer to an absolute value problem. Negative is we put the negative out there. So then plus 10, because the absolute value of 10 is 10, and then plus a negative 2. So different signs, so I'm going to subtract. More positives, that's why it's positive. And then different signs, so that's why I'm going to subtract. Again, more positives, that's why it's going to stay positive there. So really what we want to make sure that we're doing here is visualizing, all right, because it's going to let us know if we're going to do an addition or subtraction problem. Lesson 8, this is really where you have to utilize your rules and know if you're going to add or subtract, so that's why we're walking through it a lot. That's it, all right. I know, it's over. It's so sad.